You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's going on, Commanders fans? It is the Believe in Commanders show with Anthony Armstrong and my man, Brian Murphy. Glad to be back with y'all leading into this week against Tennessee. We're previewing them today, but Brian, what's going on with you?
Not too much. It's Thursday, so I'm ready for the football weekend to start. We'll be checking out the Amazon Prime game, and Thursday is basically Friday. Friday basically means the weekend, and the weekend means football. So we are almost there.
So basically, Wednesday is the new Friday.
I'll take it. Yeah,
kind of how we're doing it? Hump day, and then that's it after that.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I think they're on their way to. Some countries are doing 4-day work weeks.
Signed me up yesterday for that.
You know, I think we could pack a lot of productivity in 3 or 4 days, but let's see. I don't know. Let's not spend too much time. I'm not going to bet on that, but I would put a little wager on some games this weekend.
It doesn't matter what day it is because football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, which we will give you later on in the show when we make our picks, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. No better reason to log on and get going now. They have the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports like MLB with the playoffs coming up, NBA season starting soon, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. So head on over to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. And make sure you use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. It's scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. And remember, BetOnline, where the game starts.
Yes, indeed. And then also shout out to the folks listening in on TuneIn Radio. You may be on the Believe radio station over there. So that's another spot you can check us out. Obviously, all podcasting spots and now TuneIn Radio. So shout out to them. Appreciate it.
Pretty cool. Yeah. And so BetOnline, where the game starts. So where does this game start for the Commanders? They are back home in FedEx. They're going to be debuting the burgundy jerseys for the first time as the Commanders. So that'll be fun. I think it's a Think Pink weekend. So a lot of stuff going on. It's always good to be back home. And the Commanders need, there's the bell to remind us that the Commanders need to get going. They need to get going fast against a team that has struggled a little bit. Don't forget, This was the number one seed in the AFC last year, and they started off 0-2. They've managed a couple of wins since then, but I think this is a Tennessee team that you can get after. So what are you thinking, your initial thoughts on this Titans-Commanders matchup?
Well, you know that this is going to be a physical affair. I mean, Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry, they want to hit you in the mouth. They want to punch you in the mouth, and you have to be ready for that. And John Allen and the rest of that defensive line for Washington, they will be up to the challenge. And yes, you are 100% correct, Brian. You have to get up on this team fast. Their defense gives up yards. They are 31st ranked in the league at defense. Now on the flip side, Washington's defense is 21st. Then on offense, Tennessee is 29th in the league, and then Washington is 23rd. So you give yourself an opportunity to score points early, make them get out of their comfort zone, which is running the ball with Derrick Henry, make Ryan Tannehill drop back and throw the ball. That's what Washington needs to do to get started early in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you have a guy like Derrick Henry, obviously he's going to be your game plan. And that guy likes nothing more than to pound it between the tackles and run out that clock. And if you can get up on them and kind of force Ryan Tannehill, who he is what he is. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not a superstar, but he's
not a mentor either.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not going to mentor the young guys. He is not there to teach Malik Willis. But if you force the Titans to have to use Ryan Tannehill more than Derrick Henry, I think that's a recipe for success in a way that you can potentially get after this Tennessee team.
That's the absolute truth. And you don't want that. You don't want Tannehill being able to pass the ball in the play action situations. That will put a lot of strain on this defense. So priority number 1, stop number 22.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw. Speaking of Tannehill, I think Derrick Henry caught a touchdown pass, so they are certainly going to try to get him involved in a bunch of different ways. It looks like they're going to be without Traylon Burks, their first round receiver. Sounds like the Commanders are going to be without their first round receiver in Jahan Dotson. So was kind of looking forward to that matchup or seeing which first round receiver comes out better, but seems like the other receivers for both sides are going to have to step up and make some plays.
Yeah, and I think if you have to give the hat tip to Washington, give them the edge at the receiver position. Terry
Hmm.
McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, those guys are definitely ahead of what Tennessee has. With Tennessee losing A.J. Brown, it has definitely been a major, major sticking point for that offense and for that team so far. I mean, they don't have that one guy that they can go to right now. And then now you have a young fella, Traylon Burks, being out, and that doesn't help. So when you're basically relying on Derrick Henry to make things go, it makes you very one dimensional. And this could be a great point for Washington to come out and just create a good attitude and start something special with this defense.
Well, it seems like Washington has done, at least last week, and even against the Eagles, despite how big of a disaster that was, that they've done pretty well against the run. I said it in our recap of the Dallas game. John Allen spent most of the afternoon in the Dallas backfield, and you're going to need to do that and more with Derrick Henry, who does not go down easily. I mean, he is a tank. Everybody knows Derrick Henry. You know number 22, and you know what it feels like to get hit by him. So, but if they can play that well against the run again, I like their chances to kind of get Tennessee out of rhythm and it'll force some of those guys to step up. We know Robert Woods is a solid receiver. Seems like he's finally coming on. So they still have some weapons there, but again, it goes through Derrick Henry, and it kind of seems to fit to the Commanders' strength. They really have done a pretty good job against the run. They shut down Pollard and Elliott last week. So I like their chances there if they're able to do that. Now, with the Commanders, it's easier said than done, right? We've kind of laid out some blueprints that I think would have been really helpful and worked, but it's one thing to say it and to go out there and get it done for those guys.
Yeah, and I will say the first few games of the year, there have been some pretty glaring mismatches where there are areas of concern where you could say like, "Hey, this is a big problem," and you have to overcome something to get the victory. I feel like this game against Tennessee, at least on the defensive side, you know what you have to stop, and I would love to think that William Jackson, BSJ, St. Juice, and Kendall Fuller, those guys would be able to handle the receivers in the passing game that Tennessee is going to bring to them. So the big focus is stop the run. And I
Right.
think that this team is built to do that. With John Allen in there, he's going to be an anchor. Deron Payne's playing out of his mind. He's going to be there. Sure, we don't have Chase Young yet, but that's okay. I think with the defensive line, linebackers really keying in on Derrick Henry, that's going to be huge. They can focus on that, and it's going to be a good matchup. And then on the offensive side, you have a defense that's been susceptible. They have given up a lot of yards. They gave up 350 to Matt Ryan last week. So it's going
Yep.
to give Carson Wentz a chance to get back on track. Like
Yeah.
this is a big game for Washington, and you really have to just say, hey, you know what? Go out here and do what you do what we do best, and the good things are going to happen. Just go out there and play ball.
Yeah, so stick around on our video for the picks later. But I think people are kind of seeing what we're seeing, that Washington could have a shot here. I think it opened up as a few point favorite for Tennessee, and now it's down to 1.5 points, which means that people are starting to bet Washington and kind of looking at it like, you know what, this isn't the Tennessee Titans team that we've seen over the last couple of years. And you're right, that smash mouth. We know about the smash mouth on the offensive side with Derrick Henry, but with Mike Vrabel, a stud defender himself, that defense has been pretty susceptible to some big plays. I mean, we saw what the Buffalo Bills were able to do against them on Monday night. So there's a chance that if we get good Carson Wentz that we saw in the first couple of weeks, that Washington could put up some points here and maybe finally get the ball rolling, literally, for this offense and get back in a rhythm that we haven't seen now in 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one thing to think about though is good Carson Wentz is very much correlated with good offensive line production and
Yep.
play. Okay, I was asked if Carson Wentz is the guy. Is he the guy for this team? And I'm like, it's too early to tell. But if you're being real, he doesn't have a full strength offensive line.
Right.
All right, so if the offensive line can slow down Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, and keep Carson upright and give him a chance to deliver the ball, then you will see a lot of good Carson. I think he's more apt to play well. I don't think that the way that things have been going the past couple of weeks have been conducive of who he is as a quarterback so far.
And this is probably what their fourth offensive line combination now in 5 games, because it sounds like Sadiq Charles has kind of taken over for Trey Turner. So there's a lot of shuffling there, but you hope, and we've seen it in Washington in the past, even when guys have shuffled in and out, if the same unit is playing together for a little bit, they start to get a little bit more cohesive. And I think even with some of the holes that we saw last week, the offensive line was making some stuff happen, especially in the running game. So you hope with another week of these same 5 guys playing together. I know Turner started last week, and like I said, Charles looks like he's going to be the right guard this week. But hopefully that cohesiveness, the same 5 guys, knowing each other, knowing where each other is and are during the play. I like, I'm with you. I think Carson Wentz, and I think any quarterback, can only go as far as his offensive line is going. And, you got to think that they're kind of hopefully starting to gel a little bit, and they've got some guys in there now that are pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, I think that it's tough. I remember I said it takes you about 4 to 6 weeks to kind of get rolling as a team, especially you got a new quarterback and going live speed. It doesn't help when the offensive line is shuffling like a deck of cards. That is never a good thing, because you think it's all the same, just block. Everybody has different techniques. Everybody sees things differently. Yes, you want to be a group of dancing bears together, but it's not like that. Then it can hinder the progression that has been made with the receivers. You may not get to see that, because if he's not able to step back and deliver the ball on time, then you don't get to see the connection that he's built with Jahan and with Curtis and Logan. So everything starts up front. And I think that it's a challenge with this defensive line and what you get, but they are susceptible for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the guys that maybe not a lot of people know is Jeffrey Simmons. He is a wrecking ball on that defensive line for Tennessee. So they've got some studs on that side of the ball, but it sounds like potentially Bud Dupree might be out. Zach Cunningham. So a couple of their linebackers might be out. So that might be helpful in a game when you're most likely going to be down Jahan Dotson. When talking about the offensive line, I totally forgot about Sam Cosmi most likely missing this game and beyond. So you're getting Tennessee at a time when they're a little banged up too, and it's the perfect time to strike at home. And you got to take advantage. And, it's something we've been saying for the last few weeks, but eventually it's got to happen, that they've got to go out there and punch the other team in the mouth for a change. And it seems like they're in a good spot with a team that might be, a little shorthanded themselves.
But you know how you punch somebody in the mouth?
It's rear back. I've never gotten in a fight in my life.
You never got into a fight before?
I
got into one.
Wuss.
I got into like a half of one.
Was it on the football field, or was it?
No.
Okay.
No, so funny story, quick story time. I played against the Cardinals. They had a safety by the name of Adrian Wilson. Dude was a huge safety. Think like Cam Chancellor. Those two guys are like similar, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there was a play that I had to go in and dig out the safety, and a big thing to be on tape is that you got to lock up with the player that you're supposed to block. Coaches will give you a minus if you don't finish up on somebody. Well, I go up and finish up on Adrian Wilson. It's more like this. And I'm like blocking him. And he like puts his hand on my shoulder pads and just extends it fully away. And like I'm on tape, just flailing my arms, just like trying to, look tough. But like I'm trying to knock his hand off and it wasn't working. So yeah, that was on tape a little bit. It looked like Megatron just holding, Sam Witwicky or whatever, and he's just like, shut up. So yeah. Anyways, don't fight on the field. It's not that smart. You lose a lot of energy that way. But You punch people in the mouth by having a good physical presence on offense. And Brian Robinson, if he is coming back,
Yeah.
I feel like he will be a magic. He's going to be our own Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
In a sense. I mean, you don't have to necessarily shoot so high, but hell yeah, forget that. Shoot high. He'll be our own Derrick Henry. He can be that type of a physical presence for this offense.
Well,
he can be something that we can lean on and know that you're going to push the pile for 4 and 5 yards rather than have to take a 2 and 3 yard gain.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, he's an Alabama guy, so there's a chance he could be the next Derrick Henry. But we saw that in the preseason that the first guy did not bring him down. And when it looked like it was going to be 1 or 2 yards, it ended up being closer to 4 and 5 yards. And that's exactly what you need. I'm not saying that Antonio Gibson is not a tough runner, but that's not his game. He's a former wide receiver who is really good out in space. But I think his entire time now, third year in Washington, he has missed a bruiser between the tackles. And that's what potentially Brian Robinson brings to this team. And I don't know if it's going to be this week, and maybe we'll get the news later on today, if he's officially going to play or not. But you got to think that he's coming back soon because he's practiced and apparently he's looked really good. And I think you're right. I think that he, not to put so much pressure on a young guy, but I think that he is a guy that is going to really help change this offense and potentially get them going with a weapon that they haven't had all season.
Yes, and it's going to change the way that Scott Turner has to operate. I mean, he's going to definitely. It brings another wrinkle. It brings you another bit of identity, and then hopefully it could help open up some play action passes for Washington as well. So that's a big thing.
So whether or not Brian Robinson plays this week or moving forward down the road the rest of the season, I think he's going to be a big part for what this Commanders offense is going to want to do and be able to do.
That's the truth, and I'm excited to see him get back on the field and get back. Hell, it's preseason, so yeah, I'm excited to see him back in the offense and see what he can bring to that team for sure.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Titans might be banged up a little bit, but I think you might also get them at a good time because I think that they might be looking ahead at their schedule a little bit. They actually have an early bye week next week, so I'm sure they're hoping to get to the bye week, get rested. They probably think the Commanders are an easy win to go to 3-2, 3 straight wins. And then they got to be thinking about the 2 games coming out of the bye week. They got 2 division games against Indy and Houston. So I think you might get them in a bit of a trap game here. And I think that the Commanders can take advantage of that with their backs against the wall a little bit, nobody believing in them. It might be the perfect time to strike.
That's the truth. I mean, when you're looking at it, Tennessee would have the opportunity to go 5-0. Going back to the September 25th, but I mean they could sweep the entire month of October, and you think somebody probably was circling that and assuming that that's what they would do, especially getting that win against Indy, and then getting a bye week, and then getting to play Indy again. So they're definitely thinking about that moving forward. But don't sleep on these boys in Burgundy now.
That's right.
Don't sleep on them. These guys, they need to get back. Carson Wentz was saying today that he said it's not any time to panic. It's not any time to panic, and he's 100% correct. You don't need to panic right now. You just get back to playing football. I mean, everything that's happening is frankly, it's all fixable. It's all fixable. It'd be one thing if you line up and you're like, hey, their Jimmys are better than our Joes, and if you can't, that's it, then that's it. But whenever it's something like last week, penalties, you're looking at self-inflicted, wounds and pushing the ball back. That's one thing. Starting out slow, that's just another thing. This could be the perfect week to put everything together and just come out here and have a great performance.
Yeah, I think we've seen flashes. I think you're absolutely right that you just got to start to put it together consistently. And you're a quarter of the way through the season. There's no better time to do it than now. And I think you're right. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of panic. We talked a little bit about Jonathan Allen saying keep that same energy. I think they feel like they're going to turn it around. And I think Ron Rivera. You can criticize the on-field stuff, and I had someone ask why haven't they fired him? Because they're not there yet. It's not that bad yet. Maybe down the line, if they still only have 1 win, then okay, we can start to talk about it. But one thing that Ron Rivera does really well is that he's gonna take the heat or try to, and so this week he said how frustrating it is that they're 1-3, and I think by him addressing it and not having the players address it, I think that kind of puts the focus on him a little bit, and it kind of frees up these guys like Carson Wentz and John Allen to go out there and play football and start to turn this thing around. So I really appreciate that, and I'm curious how you feel about your coach kind of addressing it as opposed to kind of forcing you to talk about the fact that you're 1-3, and if you have any thoughts about that.
I love that you brought that up, and that's it's very keen and very wise of Ron Rivera. I mean, frankly, it's what you want your leader to do, and it comes down to accountability. I know I saw an article, they were saying that Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio called out Jamin Davis, but they said that they had the conversation with Jamin, and they said that, hey, you've been playing better, and you need to play better. That's not calling anybody out. That's just saying what it is. And you've had the conversation to the guy. Now you have Ron Rivera that goes up and he's saying, hey, we're 1-3. Obviously, he's upset about it. Everybody's upset about it, but you don't want your players to have to worry about answering those questions. That takes the pressure off of them. Now, watch this, what happens. They go play a great game this Sunday and players have a ball across the field. He's going to let those guys talk about that.
Yeah.
Let the players talk about, they get to enjoy their moment in the sun when all the stuff is raining from up top. Hey, he'll take that brunt. He can be the person to handle the umbrella. And ultimately, I mean, I said this in the past. This team I don't feel like it was just one player away.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a one player away thing. I think they did address a lot of positions. They got help at receiver. They did, through some help at O-line, but obviously the injuries are now jumping in. They're making steps in the right direction.
Yep.
And you have to take that for what that is. Yes, we want to see wins happen, but this is still a team that is in a not rebuild, but they are definitely constructing something new, and you got to give it a chance to get built.
Yeah, and your quarterback, the most important position, your biggest acquisition, is learning his third offense in as many years. So that's a huge part of it. And I think that, they still they need time to gel. It's still early in the season. It's a quarter of the way through, but it's still early. And I think Ron Rivera and those guys know it. So it's nice to not hear them panicking. And it's nice to hear Ron Rivera kind of take the brunt of that, because I'm with you. I think that you can criticize their on the field decisions, the coaching staff, but it seems like that they're being upfront and honest with their players, and it seems like it's going both ways in that regard. And that's all you can ask for, is to talk to a guy man to man and not kind of spread it through the media. And I think they're doing a good job of that, where it could easily, and in the past with this team, it could easily spill out and could become way worse, even a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, and you don't get it twisted. Everybody's like, well, it's week 4. We don't get too far away. Yes, the rest of the division is looking very good. They are all rolling 3-1, 3-1, and 4-0. So Washington does need to get on the right side of things quickly, but hey, we're not going to throw in the towel. I think this is a great opportunity for them to get a win and get back on the right side of things. Create a little momentum going into this short week.
That's right. So, they got a game against Tennessee. They turn right around to go to Chicago. So hopefully we're seeing Brian Robinson out there. Hopefully we're seeing this team start to punch some other teams in the mouth. And hopefully we're talking about a win next week, looking to put 2 together in 4 days. But I like their chances. I mean, Tennessee's no pushover by any means, but I like their chances this week to get a win at home.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, I got to get my cookbook back out.
That's right.
Just
what's the recipe looking like this week?
Nice little simple concise one. This is for my working professionals. You're busy, you're on the go, and you're wondering just, what do we do? How do I keep it simple? Something simple, but it's a classic, right? So number 1, first things foremost, offense. I say you come out, you be aggressive a little bit. Be aggressive, try to jump on these guys early. Maybe it's not run the ball on the first play because they have a pretty good defensive line. So, hey, you're not doing spaghetti, but we're going to turn it up a bit. Maybe we jump out with some play action, try to get some chunk plays early. That's, nice little steak. You can just grill that up. It's super simple, super easy. All right. So that's number 1. Get started early. I say go against what you've done already. A lot of self-scouting has already happened. Hey, maybe you start out with runs a lot. I mean, hell, last week Carson Wentz averaged 4 yards per pass. That ain't good.
No,
that's not good. That. Yes, indeed. So go play action, drop some balls over the top. Let's get some big plays. On the defensive side, you know who it is. Stop 22. You got to go all in on stopping Derrick Henry. Those guys on the outside, give those guys the confidence of Deion Sanders. Say, y'all got it. Don't even come back to the huddle. Just handle it out over there. John Allen, the rest of the defensive line, Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis. He's going to be important too now.
Yep.
He's going to be a little side cayenne pepper on some blitzes. He's going to have to keep his eyes on Ryan Tannehill because he can get out and elude with his feet. So he's a little bit of a mobile guy. He used to play receiver in college now.
That's
so he
right.
can run. Yes, indeed. So he can run. So that's one thing. Circle Derrick Henry. Pay attention to him, but also keep your eyes on Ryan Tannehill. And then the third thing, you got to have a little dessert. You got to go out there and look good. Put the burgundy. I don't know if it's going to be all burgundy or burgundy in the gold pants. That's my favorite combination. Okay. Go out there, look good, and have some fun, man. Deion says you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good. I want to see some guys play really well, looking good on Sunday up there at FedEx Field.
Yep. Let's see if the Commanders can look good, play good, get a W, and get this thing rolling with a chance to make it 2 in a row this time next week. So speaking of paying good, make your bets, get your bets in at Bet Online and use our promo code BELIEVE. We appreciate those guys for bringing the show every week. As I mentioned, it looks like some people are betting the Commanders, so it might be a nice train to hop on there. They're a home dog. You got to think they want to protect FedEx Field, and what better shot to do it. So check out Bet Online, betonline.ag. We appreciate those guys bringing you the show every week. So we'll give out our picks in another episode on Friday. But if you want to stick with us on video, we're going to do that here in just a second. Any closing thoughts, AAA, before this Commanders-Titans matchup?
No, I don't. I think that the message is clear. Enough is said. There's no more talk. Ain't no more talking.
Show up. Done. Yeah.
Show up and play ball. It'll be a good day.
Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we will be back again, like I said, with our picks, and then to break down this game next week, and then a quick turnaround, a preview of Chicago. So a lot coming in the next few days. Thanks for spending some time with us.
All right, folks, we'll catch you around.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Our YouTube viewers, this is always up on YouTube. Who knows what our picks record is like? Probably not very good, but I really enjoy this segment. So I'm going to put the picks up there. Let's see what they look like in week 5. We got we're recording this on Thursday, so when we get this wrong and you're hearing it already on Friday, give us some slack. We are predicting this before the game, but Colts Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Let's get to our picks by betonline.ag. Use our code BLEAV to check those out. AAA, what are you thinking with this Thursday night kickoff game?
Well, I'm
Broncos
upset.
A 3-point favorite at home. I'm sorry.
Yes. Broncos are a 3-point favorite at home. I'm upset because I wrote these down. I wrote my picks down. I was prepared, man. I was ready to go. And now I cannot find where I wrote them down at. So that makes me very upset. But
you just got to go with the heart now. Now it's a heart pick.
I will say this. I was first and foremost, shout out to Miss Thomas. That's my son's kindergarten teacher. She listens to the show and she uses her picks. She uses our insight and makes her picks, and I think she has like a little family pick 'em. So shout out to her. Well, this week I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna say that -3 Broncos. I'm going to go with the Broncos. I think Patrick Surtain is pretty good on defense. He's going to help these guys make the win.
Yeah, no Jonathan Taylor also for the Colts, so I'm taking the Broncos there to win that one at home, and I think they win it pretty handedly. Okay, the Packers, an 8-point favorite at home against the Giants. What are we thinking with that one? One is
that's in London. Matter of fact, that's in London, right. Jolly old London. It doesn't matter where the location is. What you got?
32 games now that have been played in London. And this is the first time 2 winning teams have played each other, which is thank goodness London is finally getting a good matchup. But in London.
Most of that has been because it's Jacksonville's other home
That's right.
stadium, so they got stuck with them for a while, and now Jacksonville's good, so they're going to get some more wins. But I'm going to go with this. Doesn't matter where you at, over the pond or back in Wisconsin. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they're going to get that 8. I think it's going to be close, but I'm so upset. I know I wrote this stuff down, but I'm going with that. I'm going with that. Give me the Packers.
I think the Packers win, but I think the Giants have been a pretty tough team, and I think they cover. So I think the Packers win, but I think 8 is a pretty big number for them. I still think the Packers just seems like they're a couple steps away from that offense fully clicking. So I'm going to go with the Giants to keep it close. I think they use a lot of Saquon Barkley, try to keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers. So give me the Giants if we're going against the spread there. All right, Seahawks at Saints. Geno Smith has the best completion percentage in the league. The Saints lost a close game in London. I don't know what to make of any of this, but the Saints are at home. That is why I'm assuming they're a 5.5-point favorite in this one.
I think in this game, I went with Geno, man.
Okay.
I'm riding with Geno. I think like if I bought jerseys, I would get a Geno Smith jersey. I'm riding with Geno, man. Don't write back.
I do like Geno. He doesn't seem to care what anybody thinks about him, and I think that's the way you gotta. I think that's the best way to go about things, especially in the NFL. However, with it being in New Orleans, I still think that that's a tough place to play. So I am going to go with the Saints. I don't have any real reason why I'm doing that, but I think the Saints being at home is the difference maker there. Maybe I'm making too much out of the home versus away. So
No,
we'll
the
see.
Superdome is not an easy place
That's
to
what I'm
play, man. That
thinking.
place
Yeah.
gets loud. But I
I
mean,
think that,
ironically enough, so does Seattle. But
right. Yeah.
can they handle some of their own medicine?
Yeah. You're right. All right, Texans at Jaguars. Jaguars getting some respect. They're a 7-point favorite against the winless Texans. I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars here. I think that they cover. I think Trevor Lawrence is rounding into form. Had a bad week against the Eagles. I think a lot of that was weather related. So I think down in Jacksonville, the Jaguars get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jacksonville, Duval, and
That's
Blake
right.
Bortles just retired. So
Yeah. Man,
shout out to him.
what an interesting career. Guy went to an AFC championship game and then just kind of fell off from there. Just an interesting career, but certainly some ups to go with the
I
downs.
found it. I found it.
How did they compare? So you took Broncos, Packers, Seahawks. What were your picks that you wrote down?
So I had done actually I did Broncos to win. I did Indianapolis to cover. I thought they could cover. So I thought it was gonna be a close game, right?
Sure.
I think I had Green Bay to win, and then I had New York to cover. Because when you said that part, I was like, I think that's how I had it. This game, Seattle, I had all Seattle for both, and then I had Jacksonville for both. But that Seattle spread was at 6, and now it's down to 5.5. So I like it even better.
Okay. I like it. All right. So then the big fat one, the Bills at home, a 2-touchdown, two touchdown, 2 extra points, 14-point favorite against the Steelers. Kenny Pickett making his first career start. 14 points. My goodness.
He's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
He's finna be going to Orchard Park. They finna be breaking tables left and right. Buffalo Bills.
I think he threw 3 picks in mop-up duty last week. I think it could be worse. Yeah, I got to go with the Bills. As big as that number is, I'm still going to go with the Bills. I think they kind of win it handedly, and Kenny Pickett gets his welcome to the league rookie moment.
Yeah, that's a hell of a defense to go get your welcome to the league moment. I just wonder what the weather's going to be, because it's going to be windy, and he wears the gloves because he has smaller hands, and I was looking at him throw. I was like, I don't know if he got a big arm, but that's neither here nor there. Go listen to the Believe in Pittsburgh show for that.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. That's too much breaking down a team that doesn't matter to us right now. So, all right, let's move over to Buccaneers, a 9-point favorite at home against the Falcons, who are 2-2. That's a pretty rich number for a Buccaneers team that has been up and down a little bit. I'm going to take the Falcons to cover. I'm going to take my hometown Falcons to cover that one. I think the Falcons are tougher than people thought they would be, including myself. All right, Vikings at home in an NFC North matchup. They are a 7-point favorite against the Bears. Bears are 2-2. That's kind of a surprising 2-2. Vikings got a win in London.
Yep.
I don't know what to make of either of these teams, but I think I'm going to go with the Vikings.
I picked the Vikings to win and to cover the spread. Uh, that, yeah, that's just it.
Yeah,
I
that's
think they're.
kind
I
of all I
just think
got to say
I
about
just
that.
think they're a better team, and 7 with the spread. When I looked at it, it was 7, and now it's 7.5.
Okay.
So they, but
You're trying to get
I'd still take it. I'd still
And
take
so for us dummies, I mean myself and other of us dummies out there, when you see the spread move one way, that means that the money's going the so you see a spread expand like that, they're wanting money to come in on the Bears because so much has gone on the Vikings, right?
it.
I
I
think that's
think
how that
so.
works.
That would
I think
make
we got
sense.
to
We're
get
all learning together. We got to get Cam Rogers on the show.
yeah. So what I think it is that it was a good enough number that so many people are betting on the Vikings. So it sounds like they maybe jumped it up to 7.5, hoping that
Yeah.
a few people will go with the Bears instead.
Yeah,
Is the
yeah,
way
and
I understand it.
I mean that makes enough sense. That makes
Yeah,
plenty enough sense. I mean,
but
what was the previous game that the spread, the Washington game?
yeah. So which we're getting to right now. So the Titans a 1.5 point favorite. I swear it started like a 3 or 4. So I'm assuming that some money's coming in on
Yeah,
the Commanders, and now they're wanting people to go the Titans way. My
yeah.
heart wants to take the Commanders, but they haven't shown me enough in the last 3 weeks. But my heart's been broken before, so I'm going to stick with it. Give me the Commanders.
Oh my goodness, that man is a glutton for punishment. I mean, he just is like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna take it.
I'm going to
Um,
rip my heart out.
yeah, you definitely are. When I looked at this, the spread was 3.5. Three
Okay.
and a half. Washington was 3.5 point dogs, and I took Washington. And
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna still ride with Washington. I
Yeah.
mean, 1.5 is not that much. I do think it's gonna be a close game, but I'm going
I,
with Washington. Win and cover.
I saw Cam Rogers pick, and he had the Commanders winning 23-21, and he has turned it around a little bit, and he is the believe betting guru. So I'm going to go with Cam Rogers there and give me my team.
There
Um,
you go.
One that I'm surprised by, the Dolphins are a 3-point favorite going to the Jets. I think it would be more if Tua were healthy and playing. So I'm kind of intrigued by this one. I think I might go with the upset and pick the Jets here.
I have the Jets to cover, actually.
Okay.
And Miami to win, but Jets to cover. It
So a
just
close win for the
a
Dolphins.
close win. But you have a lot of familiarity in this matchup, folks. So think about this. Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, was on the same staff with Mike McDaniel out in
Yep.
San Francisco.
Good
So
call.
that could be something to think about. He may think of some other little wrinkles that we know that that he either way.
Yeah.
Something to think about. I'm going to still go with what I have. I think the Jets can cover that spread.
Yeah, dog is barking because I'm taking the dog. That's perfect. So I'm gonna go with a second dog in a row. That was so perfect. I love that. I'm gonna go with a second dog in a row. I'm gonna take the Browns. They're a 2.5 point dog to the Chargers at home. So give me the Browns in this one. What is your dog saying?
My dog is barking because I'm not picking the dogs. I think the Chargers will do it. I think they can cover it. Well, let's see. It's still 2.5 because it's
That's what I
changing
saw.
on me.
That's what I saw most recently. So I mean, who knows if
Okay.
it changed? I'm
It's
gonna
still
hit
2.5.
refresh.
Two and
Okay.
a half with an over under of 47.5. So I mean, for the over under, folks, is the cumulative points.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 47.5 is what the over under is.
I
So
think
you
I might
can
go.
pick.
I think I might go under there. I think Myles Garrett's going to make his return, so give me the under in the points there. A little over action there. All right, the Panthers at home, a 6.5 point dog to the 49ers. What are you thinking there?
Which game did you go to?
I'm sorry,
Carolina.
49ers. Yep, at the
Okay.
Panthers. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
I've been known to type it wrong.
I had him in a different order. I'm looking at my list
Okay.
and I had the picks. San Francisco, Carolina. It said 6.5 is what I had it at.
Yeah, that's what
When
I got it
looked,
too.
still 6.5. Okay, I still pick San Francisco.
Me too.
It
Their
doesn't
defense
change.
is ridiculous.
D'Amico Ryan's definitely out there dialing it up. Probably going to be a head coach here in the next year or two.
Say.
He could probably look good as a head coach for the Vegas Raiders. Yeah, San Francisco. Plus with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it steadies the ship.
Me too.
I
don't think they're ever going to explode for 40 plus points, but he's not going to put you in bad situations. He's just not.
Yeah, and that's just who he is. That's who Jimmy G is. So
Yeah, give me the 49ers and give me give me a good bet on D'Amico Ryans being one of the next assistants to get a coach. That guy just looks like a head coach when they show him on the sidelines, and man, is his unit firing on all cylinders right now.
yes, indeed, great player for the Texans
Yeah.
back in the day.
All right. I think I did do these out of order. But the Patriots are at home, a 3-point favorite against the Lions, who have dropped a couple after beating the Commanders. I don't think DeAndre Swift is playing. I don't think that Mac Jones is playing. So that's interesting. The Patriots are still a 3-point favorite.
I'm taking Detroit. Fighting Dan Campbell's. I think it with Bailey Zappi up there, Aaron Glenn's going to bring the heat. He's going to bring the fire. So I'm going with Detroit to cover and to win.
This seems like the game where you're counting out the Patriots, and I'm going to take the Patriots. I think however they get it done, I think Bill Belichick's going to slow down that Lions offense. I think he's going to lean on they're his two running backs who finally seem to put together a really solid game, and Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. So give me the Patriots in this one at home. The Eagles, I think, are the best team in the league. As much as that pains me to say, they're a 5-point road favorite going to the Cardinals, who had a big win against the Panthers last week. I could see the Cardinals covering this. I could see this being like only a field goal game. I think I'm going to go that way. I think I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover, but the Eagles still win.
I feel like that was my initial intention. But I'm going to go completely opposite. Well, not opposite completely, but either way, Philly to do both. They can cover and they can win this game because if they get ahead, that defense can get very suffocating, and they could probably create a few turnovers against Kyler Murray.
Yeah, agreed. Kyler Murray killed me last week running the ball all over the place. Give it to James Conner once in a while. Anyway, the Rams at home, a 5.5-point favorite after getting embarrassed on Monday Night Football, going up against Cooper Rush, who is the greatest quarterback of all time. Man, I think the Cooper Rush gets his first loss, and I think the Rams win big. I think they're frustrated a little bit, sitting at 2-2, and I think they take it out on the Cowboys.
Man, when I looked at this, it was a 4-point game.
A 1.5, really?
Yes. And Rams were a 4-point favorite, and now Dallas is a 5.5-point dog.
Yeah.
I had Dallas to be able to cover and win. Something's up with that 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
That something's up with that 5. But I guess when you go and look at maybe the last time those two teams played, it wasn't Dallas. I feel like the Rams got after it. So give me this. Dallas covers the Rams. Screw it. I'll stick with it. Dallas can cover and win.
Okay.
Dallas can cover and win.
Okay. Next one, Lamar Jackson coming off a tough game where he throws an interception late with a chance to take the lead. 3-point favorite against the division foes, the Bengals. I'm going LJ all the way. I think the Ravens get this one, and I think they cover that 3 pretty easily.
I had Cincy to cover, but the Baltimore Ravens to win.
Okay.
I like your
21 type win.
Yeah, but your explanation, really sounds good. I mean, they'd be like a 24, something weirdly close, but I could see your way taking it. I could see that easily being covered.
I just feel like Lamar Jackson, who is my favorite player in the league, I feel like despite the fact that people are finally respecting him after last week, he's going to hear like the one person that is still doubting him, and he's going to put up like a 6-touchdown game. That just seems like the way he operates, and I love it, and I can't wait for it, and I love that it's on Sunday night.
It's a great game to have. I mean, that's definitely becoming one of the that whole division is full of some of the great rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
Just love watching those teams fight.
Well, yeah, it's awesome because typically it's like the Steelers and the Ravens, or at least it has been recently. Steelers seem to be taking a step back, but you're never going to count out a Mike Tomlin team. Browns are tough. I mean, all 4 of those teams are just kind of fun to watch in their own different ways. Okay, last one, Monday night, Chiefs 7-point favorite against the Raiders, who we dogged on a little bit, and I appreciated it because we weren't saying anything out of turn. I think we were right. But the Chiefs a 7-point favorite at home. Mahomes versus Carr. What you got?
I'm going with Mahomes. I'm Going with Mahomes. I think they're riding on. They're coming off momentum from beating Tampa. They're going to keep that same thing going. Keep that same energy.
Who knows what spin move jump pass Mahomes is going to do on Monday night? We saw what he did on Sunday night. So now it's one day later. He's got an extra day of rest. Yeah, give me the Chiefs all the way. And remember, you can bet all of these lines. You can see how they change throughout the rest of the week and up to game time. Make sure you go to betonline.ag and use our code BELIEVE, BLEAV. 100%. They're matching what you put in. You put in $100. They are matching that 100% if you use our code BLEAV. $100, not even $100. You put in $50, they're going to match that. So a pretty good deal for if you go on to Bet Online right now.
That's a great thing, man. It's basically a BOGO.
Yeah, no doubt.
For y'all deal shoppers out there.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in to us. Check out our preview about the Titans game that is coming up this weekend. We'll be back with 2 episodes on Monday and Tuesday, breaking down the Titans Commanders game and then getting ready for the Thursday night matchup against the Bears. A lot of stuff coming your way. You can hear our shows on TuneIn. You can hear them wherever you hear podcasts, see the shows on YouTube, but we appreciate you guys checking us out. Whichever way you do it, it's fun to talk to you guys and let us know any thoughts that you have on social. Believe Commanders on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at bmurph13. What are your handles, AAA?
Man, well, I actually thought about this before. My Twitter handle, first and foremost, is Mr. Armstrong 13. I noticed you had the 13 as well, so we'll have to kind of figure out what's up with that. I didn't know, so that's kind of cool. I'm big into the numbers, so it's like it's a sign.
Yeah,
it's a sign. But
I think that was my original grad year from college, and I liked 13.
And my original graduation year from college was 2005. That's when I graduated. So I'm a lot older than you.
No, not a lot.
But it's all good, man. It's all good. Check me out on. Go ahead.
I didn't realize we're both 13. You're the 13. I need to change that out of respect, but we both just happen to have it in our handle.
I got 13. It was literally just given to me. That was just the jersey they gave me. Like I showed up on practice squad and they're like, here you go.
I'm totally going sideways because I love this kind of thing. I don't think I asked you that. Did you get 13? Was that the first time? Was that in Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The high school was 1. College, I wore 1. Went to Odessa, I wore 17. Got to Dallas, Desperados, I wore 17. Went to Miami, they gave me 11.
We talked about this because Dan Marino ruined it for you, and then Burleson ruined it in Cleveland.
Yeah, that was the second time. The first time in Miami, I was 11. Went to Washington, got 13. Then it kind of became an identity, and then Dan took that away. Laces out, Dan. Give me the damn jersey. But it's okay. Check me out on Twitter, folks. Mr. Armstrong 13. Instagram, Rated Armstrong. I actually did a little bit of film breakdown on my story. So I may figure out how to turn those into some reels or something. I think you can do that.
Yeah.
So
I have to go get somebody who knows how to work Instagram because
you don't know how. Okay, you little young buck. We'll figure it out. But man, y'all check us out. Appreciate y'all taking the time to listen. Tune in next week on TuneIn or anywhere else you can listen, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Be good.